Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the R Lounge. The ultimate poetic justice. Today in the R Lounge, OP decides to let karma take the wheel because sometimes the best revenge is simply letting the universe handle the payback. Sister stole my fiance 15 years ago. Now she's offering me her husband because they're screwed. This is about my sister, Carol. Well, I'm going to call her by her real name because who cares? There's no better way of saying this, but yeah, Carol lured my fiance into her skirts because she felt he was too handsome and rich for a plain-looking girl, me. She thought he deserved someone gorgeous, so she offered herself, and that dumbass dick married her. Good for them, because I got rid of a cheater and found someone who actually deserved me. Hear me out. This is going to be a long one because it goes back from 15 years ago when I was in my mid-20s. Now I am 41. Carol is 6 years younger to me and a complete opposite personality. She's the girl who gets the most attention in all family and social gatherings, and she ensured that she got one. Right from our childhood, she was more focused on getting dressed up and hanging out with friends. No doubt, she's pretty and what you call dead drop gorgeous, and she's proud of it. She leaves no opportunity to flaunt her superficial beauty and look down upon others who don't fit her beauty standard, like me. She was always critical of my dressing sense and made fun of my not-so-social nature. As a kid, I was more inclined towards academia, so I was mostly seen with my books and comics instead of putting makeup on my Barbie. I didn't even own a Barbie. Carol and I never shared a sisterly bond. She considered herself a fashionista while I was a plain-looking girl. That's what she called me, plain. Well, she was right, to an extent. I'm a simple woman, with no pomp and show, no over-the-top drama for attention. I'm calm and composed and like to be in my own space. Very early on, I left home from a high school and I couldn't be more relieved. Who wants to be around an entitled brat? Life was pretty much fun with my busy schedule in medical school. I used to visit home during holidays or spring break, and that too I kept my trip short. Things got straightened out with Carol as we had minimal encounters. Carol dropped out of high school to pursue a career in fashion. Later, she again dropped out of fashion school for a modeling career. Until I was in touch with her, she got 2 photo shoot projects for a local apparel brand in 5 years. I'm not sure if we can call this a successful modeling career, which she often refers to. If you think I'm mean, hold on. After I moved out of the house, the bitterness between Carol and me subsided. We met twice a year for a few days. She didn't get enough opportunity to piss me off, so we were cool. In my freshman year in college, I met Smith. He was quite senior to me. He was pursuing his master's while I was in freshman year for a bachelor's degree. Besides, he had a couple years of hands-on experience as a duty doctor. He was specializing as a heart specialist, one of the most reputed specializations. To add a cherry to the cake, he was handsome. He used to give lessons on the subject of the circulatory system to freshman students to earn some extra bucks and brush up his knowledge. He was popular for his simple teaching methods, more popular amongst the girls because, who doesn't want to take lessons from a blue-eyed, 6'2", lean, and well-bit university senior? I also took lessons from him and eventually we started dating. In my final year of college, he proposed to me. After dating him for 4 years, I had no reason to say no. He was already working at a hospital by then. During the holidays when I went home, Mom saw the ring on my finger and asked. In the happy moments of festivities, I told her everything. She jumped in excitement because it is not usual that I get serious with anyone. Smith was the first guy I ever dated or had sex with. Mom asked me the details about Smith because she sniffed our marriage on the cards. Carol often used to say that I'm never going to find a good man to marry me. By good, she meant rich and handsome. Whenever she got to know that I was seeing a guy, she would remark, "He's so gonna run away. Your relationship won't even last for a week." So when Carol got to know about Smith, her eyes lit up and she wanted to know more about him. It was kind of unusual for her to take an interest in my life because it has always been very boring. I asked, "Why you want to know about him?" She said, "He's gonna be family, so I should know him." Mom asked me to call him for dinner on New Year's Eve. Later, I got to know that Carol had asked Mom to invite Smith. We didn't have any plans for that year, so Smith agreed to tag along. When we reached home, we were greeted by Carol. It was quite surprising because Carol is a party person. She's never seen home on weekends. On New Year's, she is off for a week-long party with her friends, but this time, she was at home. Quite surprising. Should have been alarming, right? But I didn't get bothered. I don't give a crap about others' life. I went home with Smith and my sister was floored by Smith. Her first comment was, "I thought you to be rich, but you're handsome too." Her flirtatious gestures were just so evident. It was right on my face, yet I didn't take any heed. I was secure in my relationship. Throughout the evening, she made moves at him by complimenting him trivially, touching his arms and thighs unnecessarily, and forcing a conversation with him. She sat next to him at the dinner table. I gave her a look and she made a cute pout and said, "You get to sit with him every day. Today I can be his arm candy." Everyone chuckled, and we took it as a light fun. During the conversation, she got to know that Smith goes for a walk after his dinner. As soon as he cleared up after the dinner, she offered to give him a tour of the neighborhood. Smith looked at me while I sat there with a straight face, not knowing what to say. Smith replied with an awkward yes, and they both went out for a walk. That night, while we were driving back from my parents' place, Smith asked me if I noticed how Carol was flirting with him. I laughed and brushed it off, saying she's an attention seeker. I thought Smith wasn't so shallow that he would fall for superficial beauty, but dang, he did. He was equally mesmerized by Carol's charm, and he cheated on the first opportunity he got. A few months later, I had my final year exams. As usual, I cut down on our hangouts to focus on my studies. Eventually, I found him cutting down the communication. When I confronted, he said he wanted me to focus on my finals. I was too busy to suspect any foul play. On the last day of my exam, I asked him to pick me up from college. He said he was busy. Later that night, I called him to check up on him. He said he was home, but was too tired and ready to doze off. I went to his place to surprise him, but it was locked. I called him again, but he didn't respond. I waited for his call the next day, but he didn't call back. Shamelessly, I called him again and asked him why did he lie the last night. He said he forgot to mention that he had crashed at his colleague's place. Stupid me didn't read this to be any signal. How would I? This was the first time anything such was happening to me. This continued for a week until my lost marbles came back to senses. I asked him on point blank if he wanted to break up with me. He hesitated for a few seconds before murmuring a yes. He said he no longer loved me. That was it. The last conversation we ever had. I didn't ask what, when, or how. Heartbreak is always painful, and that too without any reason, even more. He left me with a sense of insecurity, self-doubt, and many unanswered questions which he didn't answer, and neither did I ask. It took months and many bottles of single malt whiskey, but eventually I moved on. Glad that he broke up after my finals, else I would have taken one more year to finish up medical school. 7 months later, I got a call from Carol, and she invites me for her engagement. I congratulated her and asked about the guy. She didn't say the name and asked me to come to the party and meet him in person. I was happy for her. Yes, it saddened me for a while that I was supposed to be married during that time, but I was single and nursing my breakup. I tried to forget my miserable life and showed up at my sister's engagement. As soon as I entered the venue, I saw the board as Carol and Smith. It gave me shivers down my spine, but I calmed down myself, saying Smith is too common a name. He might be someone else. But as I went inside, I ran into 2 of Smith's friends. They turned to the other side when they saw me coming. My heartbeat raced as I went near the podium where Carol was supposed to be sitting with her fiance. The moment I saw Smith sitting with her, his arms wrapped around hers, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there with tears in my eyes. The next I remember was my mom pulling me to a corner and asking me to behave. She asked me not to create any scene there and let everyone be happy. She said no one knows about our past and she would like to have it that way. I cried out loud and yelled, "You know everything and yet you let this happen. Carol is a witch. You all are evil. You all are in this together." By then, I saw Carol coming with an evil smile. It was like 15 years ago, yet I remember every word of her so clearly. That was the most humiliating moment of my life. She said, "You thought you could have this man?" pointing toward Smith. "Handsome, tall, rich? Are you so plain? No way. You don't deserve him. You deserve someone plain like you. Do you see how beautiful we look together and how people are adoring us? Oh my God, so cute couple. Huh, everyone would have laughed to see you beside him." I wanted to slap her right across her face, but my mom stopped me and asked me to leave. She thought I was there to stop the engagement. She was yelling at me, "Why did you come here? Don't you have any self-respect?" I said I didn't know that this witch is effing him. Had I known, I would have never shown my face. Carol denied to have invited me. She lied to Mom that she didn't invite me. Mom has asked her not to invite me because I would be hurt, but Carol deliberately invited to humiliate me. I left the place bawling and howling. My breakup pain bounced back. It would have been an understatement to say that it was difficult. It was the most traumatic phase of my life. The lowest point, I would say. Luckily, I graduated with a good grade and got into a good hospital with hectic duty hours. I barely got time to think about anything. I deliberately kept myself busy on off days. I moved on. Years later, I met my husband at work. He's the board member of the hospital chain I work. We dated for 4 years and got married, and now we are proud parents of 2 kids. Fast forward to a week ago when I got a call from an unknown number. I answered the call and the person identified herself as Carol. Even after hearing her name, it took me a few seconds to realize she was my sister. P.S. Few of my patients' names are also Carol. I asked her why she called me. She was acting all so sweet, asking about my life and all. The Carol I know, she won't spare a second on me without any motive. I said, cut the crap and say what do you want. She remained silent for a moment and said, actually, I need help. My husband, Smith, has gotten into trouble. A patient got post-surgery allergy and the hospital might sack him. I was like, what can I do about it? She said that Smith worked at one of the hospital chains whose board member is my husband, so my husband could save him from any severe punishment. By then I had zoned out. I snapped at her not to call me ever again, and we ain't gonna help them. I didn't know that Smith was working for the same hospital chain as me. He was working at a different location. I looked up at the employee portal of the hospital and found Smith, but his current status showed suspended. I wanted to discuss this with my husband, but I didn't want to dig out my past, so I let this slide. 2 days back, my mom showed up at my door. Felt like I had seen a ghost. I cut them off since Carol's engagement day. She hugged me and cried, saying it was so good to see me after so many years. But I knew that her underlying motive behind all this sweetness was to save Smith's butt. My husband was home at the time. He heard out my mom's plea for helping her golden son-in-law. My husband said Smith is accused of medical negligence and there's an ongoing investigation against him. He said there's nothing he could do, and even if he could, he won't do it. He doesn't exercise his power for personal benefit. My mom bit her lips and left without saying a word. Yesterday, my husband came back from work and said that Smith's investigation had been concluded. He would be sacked from his job, but my husband has the power of letting him retain his medical license against a hefty penalty amount. He said he could ask the other board members to go lenient on Smith and not forward his case to state health care for further investigation. Now I'm at a fix. Should I forget my humiliation and help Smith, or should I make him pay the price of his deeds? I mean, in being a doctor, I know how difficult it is to get a medical degree, and losing the license is the worst thing that can happen for a doctor. Listen, you've been through enough, haven't you? You've already weathered the storm of Smith's betrayal and Carol's theatrics. Now she wants to drag you back into the madness to clean up her mess? I don't think so. You've got your own life to live, your own family to take care of, and your own sanity to preserve. So I let Carol's circus act steal the spotlight once again. Sometimes the best way to win a game is not to play at all. Let Smith and Carol figure it out on their own mess. You've moved on, built a life for yourself, and you don't owe them a single thing. So hold your head high, OP, and let them deal with the fallout of their own actions. Trust me, you'll thank yourself later. Update 1. There was no need to post it here and get the opinion of you guys. What Carol and my mother did after that day had made it clear that they don't deserve any help. They are anything but narcissistic. Carol and Mom have been hurling abuses at me on social media. I don't use Facebook much. This week when I opened it, I found I was tagged on several posts by Carol where she called me a vindictive witch for framing her husband. She has written a long post that I was jealous of her because Smith had dumped me and married her, and I was doing all this to avenge my betrayal. My mom had also jumped on the bandwagon and said that I had abused them and cut them off because I couldn't stand Smith getting married to Carol. Extended family has taken their side and commented that I had taken revenge too far by ripping off Smith's livelihood. Even Smith has commented that I was delusional and that he never loved me and he never proposed to me. He had always loved Carol. Like, what the F? I immediately untagged myself and blocked them. I told my husband not to spare Smith from any of the charges. In fact, he should be punished to the maximum for each of his felonies. My husband gave me a smirking look and said he had never seen me this angry. So, Smith was officially sacked from the hospital, and his case has been forwarded to the state healthcare department for license cancellation. So, a fresh investigation would be conducted by the government body, and if he is found guilty of the charges that the hospital is claiming, he would lose his license and also go to prison. That's like a cherry on the cake. We'll update as the situation progresses. Right now, I'm enjoying the drama with a basket of popcorn. Yum yum. Edit. Small clarification. Carol and my mom were not added to my social media account. The thing is, I have an open account so anybody could tag me in their post. I had not blocked them earlier because 15 years ago, I wasn't using social media. Now they are blocked from social media and also my life. It seems like Smith's fairy tale has taken a rather abrupt turn, hasn't it? Like I said, karma's got a funny way of catching up with people, doesn't it? And it looks like Smith's finally getting a taste of his own medicine. Update 2. How low can a person stoop? Now I know. So, Smith showed up at my workplace. Like I said, he worked at the same hospital chain as me, but different location. He posed himself as a patient and came inside my chamber. He knew that there was no way I would have met him if he had come to see me. I immediately asked him to leave. He said he has paid a fee to consult me, so as a doctor, I should treat him. Fair enough, I listened to his problems. Meanwhile, I swiftly switched on the voice recorder on my phone. I did this so that he couldn't trap me in another mess, and I'm glad I did. He was faking his health condition that he has gotten the flu and all. I acted professional and gave him the medication as per the symptoms, but he wasn't ready to leave and unnecessarily asked stupid questions. He started flirting. I asked him to stop and leave. He said, "I wanted to apologize to you long back. I didn't intend to hurt you, but your sister trapped me and made me sleep with her. Then she blackmailed me to marry her, else she would press molestation charges on me." I asked him to stop right there because all he spoke was complete BS. I could have called security on him, but I was really enjoying his desperation. Revenge is so sweet, I tell you. I heard him out with a satisfied smile. He went on to say, "I know you still love me. That's why you still hurt and want to take your revenge. Honestly, I still feel for you. I regret marrying Carol. If you can convince your husband to save me from prison time, I promise I'm going to leave Carol and be your lover. You don't need to leave your husband, but we can secretly have our own thing." That douchebag had the audacity to say this. I burst out in laughter and called security on him and asked him to leave. He had no idea that he was being recorded. The disappointment on his face was so satisfying. He thought he convinced me. I texted Carol and wanted to send her the recordings of her low-life husband. I said your loser husband visited my clinic posing as a patient. She said, "I know. He tells me everything. We also know that you still love him. I can let you sleep with him for a night if you can save his license in prison time." Her response blew my mind. No point talking to her any further. They are together in this dirty game. I told my husband about this, and he was aghast. He said we could have sued him for the offering of bribes, but it would dig out my painful past. I said let him handle one charge at a time, but I'm going to do my bit to exact my revenge. I added Carol, Smith, my mom, and other relatives on Facebook. Carol and Smith accepted it at once. Maybe they took it to be a positive sign for me. Then I wrote a long post about how Carol, Smith, and my mom had been trying to manipulate me to help Smith skip prison time. I attached the screenshot of the conversation with Carol. I also turned the voice recordings into a still video with Smith and Carol's picture with the voice running in the background and uploaded it. That post just blew up with comments. I blocked Carol, Smith, and Mom because I knew they would retaliate. My extended family and relatives expressed their disgust about Carol offering to let Smith hook up with me to get away with his negligence. Carol and my mom tried to contact me, but I had blocked their calls and voicemails. I spent the whole of yesterday and today reading the comments on the post. People have gone next level trolling Carol and Smith. My weekend couldn't be better. Oh, the audacity of some people never fails to amaze, does it? I mean, seriously, how delusional can one get? So let me get this straight. Smith, the Casanova extraordinaire, decides to grace your workplace with his presence, spins some ludicrous tale about your undying love for him, and then he has the nerve to suggest a freaky rendezvous behind Carol's back? And as if that weren't enough, Carol chimes in with her own brand of insanity, offering to let you have a little piece of her hubby if it means saving his sorry behind from prison. I mean, is this real? With one well-timed post, you've exposed their shameless antics for the world to see, and the internet's response? Pure gold. After all, there's nothing quite like a weekend spent sipping tea and watching the drama unfold. What do you make of this? What would you have done? Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell before you leave. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so feel free to leave a comment. See you next time in the R Lounge.